Hello and welcome to this edition of Business Now right here on Zodiak. Today I am attending a TNM annual general meeting, and critical is what has transpired at this event. One, TNM has announced massive infrastructure development with the acquisition of OCL company approved by stakeholders. We also get a reaction from stakeholders following the dividend payout with 7.96 billion kwacha paid out in the year ended. We have these interactions and more. Please stay to Business Now.
I think in terms of our performance, it's been very good. From a point of revenue, you've seen that the revenues have gone up. We have 222 billion. In terms of profitability, the same as well, we've gone up. And we continue to invest. We've increased on our investment on infrastructure. I think so. It's been a very good year, and we've provided for a dividend, which is a very good gesture to the shareholders. So the performance has been very good. Yeah, you know, from 2024, we were unable to declare dividend, but this year it was 7.96 billion that's been declared from the profits of 2025. So I think that's been very positive. You've heard from the team that our subscriber base is now 7 million. That's what we ended the year with, which is very good. If you think of the population of Malawi, that's a significant proportion of the country. So that's very good. I think in terms of the network, we continue to expand. We invested 30 billion kwacha, which in itself is excellent. Not only did we expand in terms of the geographical footprint, but also in terms of the capacity that we have. So we are able to meet the demand in terms of the minutes that people make or the data requirements. So it's been very good. TNM, we are very, very sensitive to the shocks of the economy. So what we would want is that, let's say where there is a devaluation, it should be automatic that we adjust the tariffs, because if we don't, then you can see we take a big hit in terms of the financial losses. If there is a drought, or if there is power problems like we experienced in the past years, those things that affect the business, we should, because let's face it, this business is very, very much dependent on some of the macroeconomic indicators. So I want macro to take that into consideration. It is still at consultation stage, and it's really up to macro to say yes, but we are hopeful that they'll take that into account.
We continue to talk with different stakeholders in as far as the performance of TNM is concerned following its annual general meeting held here at BICC in the capital, Lilongwe. Some major investments been touted by the board, and of course shareholders are reacting to that. One of it is a 11.5 billion kwacha acquisition of OCL. It is a company built in 2016 responsible for the fiber backbone in Malawi. TNM intends to conduct an acquisition of this infrastructure, and joining me on Business Now is Frank Harawa. He is a minority shareholder and also a shareholder in TNM. Welcome, Mr. Harawa.
Thank you very much.
We've heard that as the AGM is underway right now, that you have approved as shareholders the acquisition of OCL at a cost of 11.5 billion. It's a major milestone, so to speak.
Yes, I think shareholders of TNM, we are very happy with the acquisition because one, it doesn't mean to say that we are going to contribute anything to the acquisition. There's no rights issue on it. It's just the company using its mechanisms to acquire the OCL, and it's an asset being given to us as shareholders. So it's a plus. So we are very excited about the acquisition. We know it will help our company a lot in the issues of networks and so forth, quick networks and so forth. So we're excited about it.
It seems to be a quite major turnaround in as far as TNM trajectory is concerned. I'm looking at the circular that has been shared to you as shareholders from 2021 to 2025. There seems to be a rising trajectory of investment in infrastructure and investment in technology. What does this mean to you as a shareholder in as far as the investment in infrastructure for TNM is concerned?
I think it's exciting. Look, a few years ago, the company was not profitable. With change of management and the board of directors, we are seeing good results. several acquisitions and strategic positioning itself. Here we are today, from negative profits to now being profitable. From 2024, we were profitable, and this year more profits, last year more profits, and even dividend payout. So as shareholders, we are excited. We feel our company is taking the right direction.
Talking about profits, we understand the company has just declared about 114% increase on profit, which has led to a dividend payout of 7 billion. 0.96 thereabout. That's quite huge for you as investors.
Yeah, you look, in these economically difficult times, as shareholders, yes, we are proud of our company. They have taken the right direction, and here it is now paying a dividend, although it's not that much, but we strongly believe that there will be great improvement.
Coming from zero
from
to
zero, that is,
to
yes,
this,
to this, yes. So imagine what will happen next year with all these acquisitions. So I think every shareholder of TNM must be excited. Every shareholder of TNM, I think, must be prepared to buy more, for this from our company, TNM.
But still, you would want the company to operate very cautiously in this kind of environment. We saw the shares, a movement on the bows. Shares not been sold. I mean, customers saying the market is not performing well, but still you would want TNM to perform or tread carefully.
It is important that they have to make sure that they control the expenditures. Secondly, yes, it's true that the share price has continually gone down. I mean, it was trading at 30 something last year, earlier this year, but now it's trading at 28. There's a drop. But to a wise shareholder, when a price drops, it's a time to buy, because it's now selling at a discount. Others bought at 39 and you're buying at 28. So it's a discount for you. So it's time to buy. What is happening on the Malawi Stock Exchange, if you see the drop in maybe share prices, not only in TNM, but several counters, there's a drop. And this is because of several issues that have happened recently, and it's the human nature in the making. Because, for example, it was the capital gains issue, and then there came the RBM directive of 60% shareholding by issuers and funders. And then, so these are the main things that affected the market, because if you're saying an insurer must only hold 60%, yet you had 90%, that means he must sell the other 30%. And who's going to buy those 30%? So there's a dumping of shares on the stock market, and with nobody to mop those shares. I think this is the challenge that all companies are facing on the Malawi Stock Exchange, and we strongly believe that there is a need for a discussion with the authorities that they must look into this seriously. If these shares continue being dumped on the market because of the directive, should we take it on? Although we know that the directive is up to 2028, but it's affecting the market seriously.
As we are concluding our discussion, we are seeing a new company coming on the bows, the 17th company.
Yes, 17th, yes, listed company. Yeah.
Now, what is your, as a minority shareholder now, what is your word of advice to would-be investors in that company and other companies on the counter?
Yes, I think that one is interesting one, because it's coming mostly, it's 90% of this CHL company, it's owned by the CDH Bank. So the banks are those that companies that are being affected by the debt restructuring issue. So we are cautious. We're not sure what will be the results like. So that's the challenge with the CHL itself. But look, it's not only CHL that is coming on the market. We've also heard just yesterday that there's another company that may be coming on the market, and they're looking for an advisor. So it looks like there's
quite a few companies are coming.
I think it's a good year for shareholders.
It's a good year for shareholders.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Harawa, for making
much.
it on Business Now.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's Mr. Frank Harawa. He is coming from the minority shareholders. Continue watching for Business Now, and we have more interviews to come, including how the board chair reacts to the AGM today. We continue to talk to stakeholders with TNM. One of it is press, which has some sort of a major stake in TNM. We understand, Mr. Mangani, that TNM wants to do an acquisition of OCL. How critical is it from you as a major shareholder, Press?
So this is a very important decision that has been taken by TNM. There are two critical assets that we are acquiring from OCL, which is the OCL data center and the fiber network. And the data center, as you know, is the future of technology, and our acquisition of the data center is a step in the right direction. The fiber is something that we've already been using. It's one of the key fiber assets that we've been using as TNM. And our acquisition will simply make us own an asset that has already been useful to us. So these are very important decisions that have been made by TNM.
You would be cutting out on some costs, rentals, the usage fees?
Yes, exactly. I mean, this is an asset that we'll own at the moment. Of course, the state of the asset is such that there is need for further investments in order to improve its quality. But that's an easier decision to make when we own the asset ourselves.
We were speaking to the board chair. He did highlight some of the challenges that include the levies that have been introduced on TNM Bamba. You are a former Secretary to Treasury yourself. What are some of the strategies you intend to put across to government to a bit lessen that levy, which could otherwise be spread across different other areas?
Yeah, so our argument as far as taxation is concerned is that I think it's very important for us to be focusing on broadening the base as opposed to having the same people pay all the taxes. And I think this is a discourse that has been going on for some time, and it's a discourse that we would want to continue to pursue with the government. We understand that the government has challenges in as far as raising revenue is concerned, but we also understand that in that discourse, it's very important to make sure that you're not just milking the same cow.
Another issue is to do with the stress on Forex, which continues to affect the investment. We spoke to the chief executive a couple months back, who did say that attempts to build or acquire more infrastructure is being impeded because of that lack of Forex. What are we looking at in the short to long term?
So from a press corporation perspective, we have been supporting TNM to acquire Forex. It's a huge challenge, but I think that some of our efforts in that regard have been bearing some fruit. In the short to medium term, we are also impacting on the company's performance by ensuring that we set up other investments in the portfolio that will allow us to generate Forex. And in that initiative, we want to make sure that as much of that Forex as possible supports the Forex intensive investments that we have in the portfolio. And TNM features very highly in that regard.
Finally, as a press, you do have MTL also. What other areas of investment are we looking at? We also know that you had a power project in Nkoma thereabouts. Could you just give us an update on that?
So as far as MTL is concerned, it's an asset that we have exited. We are no longer holding.
You finalized that deal?
So basically, I would say that we've finalized the deal. The only thing that is remaining on that deal is a handover, and it will happen anytime as far as I'm concerned. In terms of the solar power project, we've also made some good progress in that regard. The transmission connection agreement was signed with ESCOM, but now, because of the reintroduction of the Power Market Limited, discussions are going to be held with Power Market Limited to take us to next steps in terms of implementation is concerned. The main challenge that we face with that project is concluding an implementation agreement with the government. And that document is very important because it is that document that will allow us to be able to achieve financial close. I will be having discussions with the CEO of Power Market Limited next week, and I'm hoping that we can push that investment forward because it's a very important investment for the country. 50 megawatts of extra power into the grid adds more than 10% of installed capacity, and I think that it is in everybody's interest to make sure that that investment goes on.
All right, thank you so much.
Pleasure, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, we have witnessed quite a successful and an impressive AGM this year. We're coming from losses, Michelle. It's something that took teamwork to come up with. Can you just tell us how was the turnaround strategy with his expertise coming on board?
Well, first of all, I've got a very good board that gives some terrific guidance.
Yeah.
A lot of the board are specialists, experts in telecommunications in some cases, accounting, finance strategies. So we've got a good assemble of a board that gives us guidance. So my job was to take that guidance and make it work, in TNM, was to hit the ground running. So we basically went back to the basics in 2023. We focused on the people, we focused on the network, and we focused on serving the customer better. So we changed some of our team members. We brought in new team members to really build out the expertise right across the company. We focused on having a better network than anybody else out there, and we made sure we kept the investments into the network. And of course, with that, we could serve the customer better. We had better products. They were easier. We made them easier to use. We've even improved mobile money to make sure we created trust. We took away most of the fraud in mobile money. So we made our products better than any competitor. So when you focus on those three things, a turnaround can happen.
But it must be hard for having a CEO with such kind of vision to convince the board for such kind of a turnaround.
I think it's about merging minds. Yeah? I think we are very congruent in our direction. We knew that TNM had to change because we had no options, and so we laid out a strategy, which then he executed. But like he quite rightly pointed out, we needed to be brilliant at the basics. Yeah. So make sure that TNM is customer facing. Realign our commercial offerings, and that's what has given us the edge, really. And so far it's been very good. I think the strategy is doing well, but it's also proven to be resilient, particularly when we have these negative microeconomic headwinds. So I think it's been great.
Talking about economic headwinds, he wants to spend another 30 billion plus on infrastructure. It's something that the board is convinced, the shareholders have agreed. What are we looking at? What is the future looking at?
Well, I think the appetite is certainly for more. It should have been more than that, except that we've taken a little bit of a conscious approach. Look, TNM highly depends on Forex-related transactions. So it's a sort of a balancing act. We have to be a little bit more cautious. So 30 billion is what will keep them going, which is excellent. But the demand is outstripping the supply. So we really need to move forward. If we had a choice, we should have spent much more than that. And I think going forward, we will definitely spend much more than that.
I was speaking to him earlier on. He did say you wanted an automatic tariff adjustment system.
Yes.
Are you buying in on that? Because you were recently slapped by the MACRA on effecting changes without following the law to the letter.
Well, okay, it's an interesting complication in that we were not aligned with MACRA. Our license that we signed, that we pay for, allows us to, once approved by MACRA, put the tariff announcements on the internet and only give 3 days notice. So we complied to our license. So we feel that we've done everything correctly. MACRA is looking at the telecom law, which says, yes, but you should also publish them in the newspapers and give a 7-day notice. So these things were not aligned. So what this incident has taught us is that we need to align our license with the law. And this is what we're actually working with MACRA to do now. MACRA was never opposed to the tariffs. They know we need to increase, to stay healthy. Otherwise, the whole telecommunications industry could collapse, seriously, because the costs are increasing so much. Cost of Forex, cost of fuel, just cost of operations. MACRA recognizes that. It's just about how you do it. So we've actually applied for more tariff increase, about 55% or so, and they gave us, 26, something on average. So their biggest concern was two. One, do it progressively so it doesn't have such a big shock, which is why they brought it down to 26. And also make sure you have affordable products for those that have less means, to tackle the question of affordability. So in this, we are aligned.
Okay.
Yeah.
With OCL in your backyard, what are we looking at in the short to long term as in your plan?
Well, OCL is giving us two things. We're buying two assets. One is the fiber, one is the data center. The fiber itself is still the best long-term way of communications, all right? It's not satellites, it's not microwaves. Everything is going the speed of light. Fiber carries light. all right, which is the fastest thing in the universe. So when you manage to put fiber connecting all of our sites, for example, we'll have a better 4G, a better 5G. We'll have greater throughput through the entire network. And of course, we have faster highways connecting to the international highways where the internet comes from. So fiber is still the future, and it's underlying our entire network. And since it's so strategic, we couldn't leave that in the hands of others, right? Whereas OCL was having financial difficulties, and our entire network relied on OCL. So we had to take control of it. If they'd given control to someone else, TNM would be in trouble.
Parting words?
Yeah.
Parting words?
Well, I think it's an assurance just to our client base that TNM will continue to give the best of offerings in the country. And I think it's a true Malawian company, so we have more passion. We are closer to the people, so they should just watch out for TNM. This is one of the greatest.
And you, Michelle?
It's one of the greatest.
So what do you say as we're closing our discussion?
Well, it goes along with the chairman. Look, TNM, we've had a great 30 years. We've concluded the 30 years with profits. Now we're looking forward to the next 30 years. And all of this investments we're doing today in fiber, data centers, et cetera, it's to build TNM for the next 30 years. And our future is bright.
Now, reaching that far, we've come to the end of this edition of Business Now, right here on Zodiac. Be there next time as I bring you yet another edition and episode of Business Now, right here on Zodiac. My name is Alex Panda. Until that time, it's goodbye.